For the fans, by the fans. Welcome to the only Angels postgame show that keeps it real, win or lose. No filters, no fluff, just raw reactions right after the final out. The golden Stamos is polished up and somebody's about to take it home. A clutch hit, a game-saving grab, or just straight up hustle. We see you. But if you played like trash, you're getting the dreaded Nacho Night award. We saw the missed calls, we saw the blown saves, the clutch moments, and the disasters too. Your comments are front and center, and yeah, we read all of them. Wanna let loose? Call in and sound off live. No scripts, no suits, no spin. This is raw, this is real, this is where the fans take over. This is the HITI postgame show with Todd Fox. For the fans, by the fans.
I'm a fox. My name's Todd.
Hey, welcome in everybody to another episode of the Halos in the Infield post-game show with your hosts, plural, Todd Fox, and the one, the only from Catella Chronicles.
Dominic Lorenz back in the house, just got back from the Big A tonight.
Absolutely, dude. A little late getting on the show. I know, but that graduation party took a little bit longer than expected. Blame it on Steve Elise. So we're here, and that's all that matters. But I was monitoring the game. My boy Dominic was at the game because why? We're for the fans, by the fans, by the fans, for the fans. We are in the stands with you. It's not just one of these, hey, I'm watching from far. No. We're at the games, man. And it's not because we have to be there. We're not credentialed. We are fans.
And it wasn't just me there tonight. I'm already gonna shoot some love out. Rob was at the game tonight.
Nice.
And our buddy Vince was at the game tonight. So the 3/4 of the HITI, main crew. We were just missing you, Fernando, Mr. James, and the rest of the crew. I think James Malou was there as well tonight.
Yeah, James Malou was there, and you know what? You would have had two Jameses there, but unfortunately, he texted me probably about an hour or two before the game saying that he was sick, so he was not going to be able to make it up. But I know he wanted to be there and say hi to everybody. So again, yeah, it would have been pretty much me and Fernando not being there.
It was the HITI night. That's why I was texting Rob and Vince throughout the game. I'm like, we're the Golden Stamos winners tonight, and then I realized I'm like, oh crap, Todd and Fernando are not here. So it's their fault that they lose when they're there. Sorry you were there last night. So don't go to a game tomorrow.
Maybe I should stay away from the Big A. Yeah, definitely. But I know for a fact though, we are supposed to have some sort of HITI night this season. I'm even trying to lobby to get freaking Randy down here. So if we can get the entire crew, that'd be really awesome. To be at the game all together, because it seems like we can't get everyone, the Avengers, to assemble all at one spot in one place. So
yeah, either way, we're gonna find a way to do it somehow, some way.
Absolutely. But tonight, dude, I mean, as much as yesterday was a crushing defeat, tonight was a nice, fuck you type win.
Oh yes, from the jump, absolutely. It was, I cannot say this is probably. We're in 2025. This is probably, I haven't seen José Soriano pitch at home as much as maybe some other people. And I want to say I haven't really seen him pitch outside of the bullpen since 2023 before he was, transitioned into a starter. He is as advertised, my friend. And I said this, we all know the arsenal that he has, the knuckle curve, the splitter, the cutter, the fat, everything that he's got. The last 3 starts, he has been absolutely as dominant as any pitcher in baseball. And if you're not turning heads at this point for an all-star bullpen opportunity, there's a lot to love from José Soriano. I think he will indeed be the ace of this staff moving forward. He has the goods. He's lengthening out ball games. I know he wanted to get through 7, but shockingly enough, I think interim manager Montgomery made the right decision to go to the bullpen, especially with an elongated lead in the 7th inning at that point.
Yeah, and his splits haven't been bad. Well, they were obvious in the beginning of the season, but they're starting to calm down a bit.
Yep.
And outside of that start at Boston, Soriano's been, and he had a rough one in Miami as well, or at home against Miami.
Yeah.
And because he threw too many pitches. But like you said, when he's on, he's on. And he's giving you more 6 to 7 inning starts than he has the 3 2/3 and the 4 2/3 against Miami and Boston. So he's got the stuff to do it. And right now he's lowered his ERA to 3.39. And yeah, I'm right there with you. Once the veterans leave this club, like your Tyler Andersons, your Kyle Hendricks, and players like that, it's his team. It's his squad unless they add a number one free agent, off of free agency. I don't think, this is going to be Soriano's team as far as leading them into a series, a big series or whatever. He's your ace. And there's going to be other pitchers that are going to want to grab that spot. And that's why I hope, to tell you the truth, Dominique, is I hope that the Angels have healthy competition and that they have the guys right there to be like, yeah, man, good job. This is what you got to look for, giving tips, giving props, but also deep down, I want to pitch better than you,
Yeah, you have those internal rivalries, and that was something that the Angels had, what I call the Jared Weaver era, the Irvin Santana, all those, early 2000s, early 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
But with José Soriano in mind, people don't realize how good he has been. Everybody just looks at the flat numbers, but he is the first Angels pitcher to work 6 2/3 innings and allow 1 or fewer runs in 3 consecutive outings. And this is a name we haven't talked about in a long time. Since Hector Santiago. Throw that name. June 28th to July 10th, 2015. Nearly 10 years ago.
Was that All-Star Santiago?
I believe that was All-Star Santiago. And that includes for Soriano 28 strikeouts throughout the last 3 outings. And that includes a grand total of a 10 tonight in 6 2/3. So I don't know what else the guy has to do. Again, you know me, I'm not a huge wins and loss guy when it comes to pitchers. He's 5-5, big whoop. But like you said, he lowers that ERA to 3.39, 93 innings pitched. If you look, as I'm doing right now, looking through his splits, and in every game he's pitched in, he has pitched 5 or more innings in all but 1, 2, 3 total games this year. Yeah. And that was against Pittsburgh at home. He went 3 1/3. He went 4 1/3 or 4 2/3 against Miami in May. And then that travesty against Boston where he only went 3 2/3. Everything else is 5+, and looking at it more so, 5 1/3 innings or more. So quality starts a bunch for this kid. 26 years old. It's crazy. It's insane.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this team in general has put up quite a few quality starts in itself. So I'm liking what I see from what they've done so far. A 9-1 win. It just I'm like, again, glass half full, glass half empty. I could go either way, and sometimes I'm just in the middle because I can't pick a side. Because again, when I see a game like this, Dominique, and I'm like, man, this is great. What the fuck happened yesterday? Or you look at it and you talk about the splits and you say, okay, man, he pitched bad against Miami. He pitched bad against Pittsburgh. It's like, man, just give me those 2 series or maybe one of the Baltimore's back.
Yep.
Where we could win 2 out of 3, not even sweep those teams.
Just win the series.
Yeah, just win the series in those 3 games. And we're talking about a 4 to 5 game swing in the standings. And you're looking at, instead of down 2 in the loss column, you're up 4 in the loss column, and you're practically breathing down the Astros' neck.
Yep.
And so it's like, that's how
it's that this season. Yeah. And what was great about it was, our good buddy that always comments on the show and watches, Mr. Eric Ward, who comes on in and does some great work. I get to my seat. I was in 223, courtesy of 714 tickets tonight. Last second, an hour before the game, or 2 hours, I'm like, let's go to the game. And he happens to be sitting 2 rows in front of me, and we had a nice 30-minute chat before the game. And we were just talking about the same thing you were talking about, glass half full, glass half empty. It's always hard to go with the what ifs. What if we had taken at least 1 in Baltimore, or swept the Yankees series, or didn't get swept by Seattle in May or whatever the case may be. Totally get it. Totally understandable. This team could easily be where Boston is right now, owning that final wild card spot as we're just 2 games out. At this point, we just have to win the series. Go win tomorrow, take 2 of 3 against Boston. The Nationals should be a sweep, with as bad as they've been playing lately, but you can't count anybody out. But right there, if you do that just within itself, you finish a 9-game homestand at 7-2.
Yeah.
And that's coming off 3 out of 4 in the Bronx. You're telling me we win 10 out of 13? Again, I'm not saying we're World Series bound, but these are the steps in the right direction to get this team going. Neto, Schanuel, O'Hoppe. I know we're going to talk about that a lot here on the post-game show tonight. These are the guys that help turn things around, ease the pressure off the Mike Trouts of the world, and even the Taylor Wards, who, even if he's batting crappy, he's still going to be in that cleanup spot, who did produce tonight. So you do the right things, and especially when in regards of José Soriano, you even just pitch 5 to 6 innings consistently. As long as it's quality start, 3 runs or less, give your offense a chance to battle in this game. It takes the pressure off the bullpen. And we've seen that happen this year, because how often really have we really talked about the starting pitching or the relief pitching been the big of the big problems like we've had in years past? I don't think we've done that, maybe on a couple blips, but not consistently this year.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I mean, we haven't really talked about the pitching being the problem at all. It's been just over and over. It's been the hitting, the pitching has had an opportunity here and there to give up some runs. And like I've been saying on this post game for the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's just a bend but don't break defense, but bend but don't break pitching staff.
Yep.
They'll allow some hits, and you'll be like, damn, dude, 3 runs on 10 hits, okay, but they did not allow the big inning.
Nope.
They may have given up a home run here, but they did not give up a big inning. They didn't get blasted. So you could look through their schedule and say, well, they got beat 11-2 on this night. Yeah, but I mean, again, for the most part, they were in that game till the end, and then the
one bad inning.
Yeah. So, and we don't need to say the record over and over, but with tonight's win, they're 31-11 or 31-10 when scoring 4 or more runs. So getting to that magical number 4, they don't always do it, but you feel pretty good when they get there. And I think a lot of that's got to get back to manufacturing runs. Although tonight's game, we'll talk about it right now as we'll start the recap. Feels good that you scored 9, but again, 6 came off of the home run ball. I'm still not digging that. I need to see more hits with runners in scoring position. I need to see more generated offense, and then I'll start to feel good. Look, don't get me wrong, Dominic, 9 runs on 11 hits, fantastic.
Yep.
But it's how they got it, and I just don't want them to feel like, hey, man, we got a guy on base and we hit that home run. No, it's like, hey, man, we got a break. Yeah. We hit a home run, but let's continue to work.
Yeah, and I will say, is it great to get, as a fan, 3 home runs in a ball game, you're jiving, you're having a great time. Mm-hmm. And for a guy like, I think the home run ball tonight, I'm not as worried about, because it was from 2 guys that desperately needed to have a big game. And Rengifo to get a 2-run home run to get the scoring started, that was a monkey off his back of, being struggling for so much time and just needing something to go his way. And then you have O'Hoppe, who hadn't hit a home run since May 22nd. Mm-hmm. He picks up 2 tonight. That got, he said in the post-game, interview with Erica Wesson that he said, I finally hit something. It finally just flattened down and it found space to land. So however you get the monkey off your back, if you're Logan O'Hoppe, who's been struggling for the last month, I will take him hitting 2 home runs in the game. Do I like it on a consistent basis? God, no. I like contact hitting. But outside of those 3 home runs, the 8 other hits by the Angels today were high exit velo, high contact, good work. Neto's 2 hits down the left field line and the one Altuve misplayed. Great hits. Schanuel lifting one into center field. Taylor Ward going the opposite way down the line. Mike Trout line drive shot into center field. Those are the kind of hits. So on a night like this where you get 9 runs and 11 hits, 3 of them are home runs. Don't want to live by the home runs. But looking at the other 8 hits that were not homers, I will take that any day of the week. And of course, the pitching does help feel, we can sit back when it was 6-0, or even when it was 4-0, you're like, okay, we got a little wiggle room. We can afford to take maybe a couple extra big hacks and see if we can, bloviate the score a little bit. And they did that. So tonight, this game, I know other podcasts out there and other post-game shows blame the coaching staff about mismanagement. I don't care if it was Ron Washington or Montgomery. There was no mismanagement in this game. And really, I'll be perfectly honest, in the last couple of weeks, there hasn't really been horrible mismanagement of this team. Yes, on a time to time, but not like we've seen in years past.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And we'll see what happens, because I think now that you're talking about, possibly a heart issue with Ron, you can tell why he hasn't been so animated, so fiery since he's been here. He's been probably held in check, not only by the analytics in Bachman or whatever is not Bachman, Sauerbaugh.
Barry Enright?
No, Sauerbaugh, the
analytics guy, yeah.
He's been held in check by that, and then probably his doctor on top of that. So,
yeah.
But I will say this: as far as O'Hoppe I think I'm going to give it over to OC Dugout. Give them credit for tonight, because listen, O'Hoppe, I never seen him autograph anything until tonight, and it was like all left-handed, or today. So he's like me; he throws right and writes with his left hand, and so he was signing his life away from, I believe, about 10 minutes to 12 or 10 minutes to 10 this morning. All the way to 12, and he still didn't get to all the private stuff. He did as much as he could, and he gave a rain check to the other people's, which he's actually going to come through with.
Yeah.
So I think
he did the same thing when he rehabbed with Inland Empire 2 years ago in 2023, and they were playing a road series in Rancho. And the 3 games that he was there, he told the Rancho staff, "I'm signing for fans. Be prepared. If I got to cover the costs for whoever's got to stay overtime security, I will pay it." And that's where I got a signature from him from the first time. And he said, I can't really, have too much conversation. I want to get through the line, but he was so great about it. And he is a man of the people. And shout out to our buddy Vince. He told me he gave O'Hoppe a t-shirt. So he's taking responsibility for the 2 home runs tonight. Not O'Hoppe, Vince, our buddy Vince is taking the credit. So Vince, cheers to you. Big honorable mention of the Golden Stamos tonight.
I'll be wearing his shirt tomorrow too, because he got me one a couple weeks back. So nice. I dig the logo, so I'll be wearing it tomorrow at the game. So the scoring went like this: Rengifo homered, as you mentioned earlier, to get the scoring going in the second inning. It was 2-0. Then you had Taylor Ward doubling to right, Trout scoring, and Schanuel scoring a nice 2-run single right there, or double, I should say. So you like to see that, because again, we've been shitting on him. I'm one of his biggest critics, and I want him to shut me up. Like, I want him to make me look like an asshat. I really do. I don't mind being wrong.
If it turns into winning, I will eat crow. We've discussed this. We will eat crow as the day as long as the Angels are winning.
I will eat rotten nachos, whatever it takes for this team to get in the W column. I will do. Hell, I'll wear a thong, and I did. Yeah. So and then you had O'Hoppe going for his first home run, 6-0 early in the third inning right there. Walker would drive in a run to make it 6-1, but that's as close as they got. It was Schanuel singling in Neto, and then you had O'Hoppe putting the icing on the frosting on top. 9-1, a clear victory tonight. Soriano was fantastic, 5-5. He evens his record, but like you said, records don't mean anything if you're just pitching and giving your team a constant opportunity to win the game. 6 2/3, 1 run on 3 hits, 3 walks, but the key was 10 strikeouts right here. Only 96 pitches. Not a bad performance, as we talked about, and beating a good, semi-real. Well, let's just face it, they are a good team. They are a good team no matter what.
Yeah. And I will say this about the Houston Astros, and I know this wasn't their best night by any means. They do not look as, and I don't want to jinx anything for tomorrow's rubber matchup, but, here we go. At least tonight, and I guess this is probably more credit to Soriano and the Angels' preparation of this ball game.
Mm-hmm.
They made Houston look very pedestrian, and we've seen the A's, Texas, Seattle. We've played every AL West team at least once this year. This game tonight was probably the least competitive game from an opposing AL squad, and I'm counting the A's in that. That tells you how good the Angels learned from last night and got back in the saddle again with Soriano on the bump. And let's not put it to the Angels' offensive credit as well. Starting pitcher tonight for the Astros, this was only his 4th game of the season being called up from AAA. He was sporting less than a 1.5 ERA, mowing down his 3 opponents in his first 3 outings. For the Angels to jump on the southpaw right away early on and really stick it to them, yes, he got through much longer than I thought he would, giving up 7 runs or so by the time he exited the ball game. Credit to the Angels. They made Houston look as pedestrian as I've seen them in the last couple of years, at least for tonight.
Oh, yeah, and I will say this too. Going into tomorrow's game, the rubber matches you brought up, you have a fairly decent and a very interesting matchup with Gusto for the Astros at 4-3 with a 4.31 ERA, 60 hits and 54 innings pitched. He's allowed 7 home runs. Kyle Hendricks, 5-6, 4.79 ERA, 77 hits and 77 innings. He's allowed 12 home runs. They both have allowed about 23 to 22 walks. Strikeouts are very similar. This is cut and dry right down the middle. Could go either way. Both of these pitchers are very similar. But I will say Kyle Hendricks, though, Dominic, from the last few starts, has looked really good. So I'm hoping he can continue that trend in a day game tomorrow.
The goal, I think, for him is like he did with the Yankees, fool him with the changeup. And that's what fooled the Astros tonight. The arsenal of Soriano is completely different from the arsenal of Hendricks. We know that that's not a far-fetched idea to have. But if Hendricks is able to utilize that changeup just like he did against the Yankees, I don't know what lineup the Astros are going to put together. I know a couple of players that were in last night's lineup weren't in tonight, so a little bit of shuffling around. However it goes about, if Hendricks can go about the business and go at least 5 innings and minimize damage to 3 runs or less, this is a game that the Angels need to continue and hit the ball. Based on the numbers, the Astros pitcher is not going to be too great. It's going to be very interesting at the end of the day, but I think the Angels do indeed have a shot at this. And we were talking about this, I think right before we hit the live button here. You just come off a series win against the Yankees, 3 out of 4. You have the opportunity to take down the first place Astros, winning 2 out of 3. You have Boston, a team you're chasing in the wild card hunt, coming in for the next 3. Then you have the Nationals, who are scuffling. Don't want to doubt them. Good young core, but they're coming into the Big A next weekend. Win the series, and if you could potentially finish this homestand with a win tomorrow, 2 out of 3 against Boston, and let's say sweeping the Nationals, 7-2 on the homestand, plus the 3 out of 4 against the Yankees, you're telling me 10 out of 13? This is the strides in the right direction for this organization. Again, I'm not going to go down Catella Avenue, riding the bike with the bikini on and saying World Series champions 2025. But this is a statue in the right direction. And I've said this from the jump. I told our buddy Eric Waters in the chat right now, who met both of us today. If the Angels are within 5 games of the wild card at the All-Star break, we're buying. Artie Moreno's not going to sell. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that, and I'm not saying I would agree with it, but if the Angels are playing this kind of baseball, Perry Manassian was in the suite yet again tonight, arms over, watching everything go pitch by pitch tonight. He hardly moved in that box tonight. Don't tell me the Angels are selling. Unless there's a big, crash landing somewhere. If they are within 5, this is going to be very reminiscent in my gut of 2023, where they were competitive to the trade deadline. We were win 3 to 5 games. And then we know what happened after the Lucas Giolito trade and Crone and Grichuk and all those things. Hopefully it's a different situation. But in this case, I really do believe if the Angels continue to play competitive baseball going into July and the All-Star break, they will be somewhat buyers at the deadline.
Yeah, I think they'll be Dollar General, kind of buyers, but they'll be buyers. Yeah. Like I said, the only big names you're going to nail at the trade deadline is expiring contracts. We just don't have the capital to make those trades otherwise. But it's still good to think that But I think you can do a healthy dose of both. You can also, get rid of a couple free agents, expiring contracts to then get some players back to then help too. So,
And
they're just going to.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the key word for Perry at the deadline or key words, I should say, is be creative, because that's what he's going to have to be to make some of these trades.
And I'm very open. I've said this on the minor league report, and I'll probably talk about it again this week when I record. The Angels have the 30th ranked farm system. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do not, unless you are Christian Moore, who's already at the big league level, Caden Dana, Nelson Rada, probably anybody in the top 5, George Clausen, Sam Aldigeri, those guys, the top 5. And maybe 1 or 2 of the other pitchers that are out at AA right now, Walbert Urania and Joel Hurtado. Anybody outside of those 5 to 7 guys, if they go, they go. How much worse can we get at the farm system if we have to give up something? I'm sorry, we're 30th. We can't fall in love with these guys forever unless they're going to make a difference now. So if you're not those 5 or 7 guys that I just named, if we have to give up a lot of minor league talent to bring somebody in, let's say the Red Sox end up trading their left fielder, Jarrett Duran. I'm not saying they will. They're in the American League, and we're both kind of competing for the wild card here. Stranger things have happened. I'm just saying Perry Manassian can fool with a couple of things. But also, if the Angels, I would say, if they're within a game or 2 or already in a wild card spot approaching the deadline, don't be shocked if Perry Manassian goes for a big fish, not Dollar General stuff. He might pull out the stopper and say, okay, let's go for it. I know Teamer 20 saying, what about maybe at the deadline, Charlie Morton? I know that's a kind of Dollar General, kind of Liam Hendricks kind of guy. But
he can eat innings. That would be that'd be the thing that would, Tamir's got a point right there. He would definitely be up Perry's sleeve right there as one of the pitchers that he would go for. A guy who consistently hits the strike zone and eats up innings. So you never know. But we are overdue for one thing and one thing only, and that is this. So you get your Stukas tonight. I know, we get the victory 9-1. It's a nice victory. I really want this game tomorrow, dude. I am going to be on every pitch tomorrow. I really want this game tomorrow. And here's another thing before we get into the awards, Dominic, is this team preaches so much about resting guys and doing this right and not going back to back. Bachman gave you 2 innings solid after the 6 2/3 by Soriano. You had only used Neris for a third of an inning. So there's no excuse tomorrow. I mean,
everybody's clean.
Yes, we should be all hands on deck. Let's win a fucking series and against an arch rival, because, again, I hate the Dodgers with all passion. I think I hate them more than any team in our division, hands down. But if you're going to pick one team to hate within your division, at least for me, it's those Astros, dude. I want to beat them so bad.
Yeah, I think the Astros are the team. Seattle kind of has that nudge effect right now. I think over the last couple of seasons,
they kind of poke you every now and then.
They poke, but sometimes, the Mariners always get us early in the season, and we kind of get them a little bit later. So it's kind of 50-50 depending on the day. I will say, Angel fans, were all up Altuve's ass tonight, per usual. They gave it to him. It was a sight to see, and the Angel fans did a good job tonight of doing what they had to do. As we all got these wonderful Nolan Schanuel bobbleheads tonight. I think it was a really good opportunity for the Angels, and like you said, to not rest anybody. Montgomery pulled Schanuel and Neto in the 8th inning. They got their 2 innings of rest. They're going to play tomorrow. We all know that for sure. But you have everybody pitching tomorrow. If Hendricks can give you 5, you have Detmers for 1, Jansen for 1. That's the 8th and 9th. You need somebody to fill the 6th and 7th inning. And if not, Hendricks gets a 6 innings. That's even better to the cause leading into the Boston series this week. So to me, this is a series that you got to win. You know what's at stake right now. And you don't see Houston for a couple of months. I don't believe we don't see Houston until I think mid-August. So you got to take advantage while they're struggling now, or at least coming off a game while they're struggling. You have the foot on the throat. You beat them 9-1. Give them the knockout blow, and let's get to Boston.
I agree. So that being said, let's hit up the Golden Stamos Award. The John Stamos Golden Stamos Award goes to, I don't think we even need a drum roll, dude. I mean, it's, again, you talked about it earlier. The guy's been in a rut. He needed to get going, and he hit 2 big bombs tonight, getting 4 big RBIs. You want to see that average 50 points higher. But, man, oh, man, nice to see Logan O'Hoppe with a nice night.
This is exactly what the dude needed. It's been almost a month since his last home run, like we talked about. Having a healthy, happy O'Hoppe bat in the middle of that order does wonders for the Angels. They've struggled in that middle portion of the order. Now that Soler is out, even though he wasn't doing much before he went on the IL, Taylor Ward had a good night tonight, but having O'Hoppe to back that up in the middle of the order really lengthens out this lineup and really does do what he was intended to do. He's still trying to improve defensively as a catcher, but we know he has the power. 16 home runs now on the season. I think by the end of the year, he's going to be a 25 home run hitter. I really do believe that. If he doesn't, I'd be shocked.
I say 30 at least, dude.
The chance is definitely there. He guides this pitching staff, even though his technique behind the plate is not the greatest. Still a work in progress. He knows how to manage the person on the bump. And I know we're going to give O'Hoppe the Golden Stamos. I'll tell you what, Soriano was
No. He gets this.
I need your seed.
Who's got the biggest biceps? Marsha. Who's got shoulders like a man? Marsha. Who's got a rapist wrist? Marsha. Who's got a thing for young surfers? Marsha. Who put the drill to grill? Marsha. Who could slam a shack? Marsha.
Congratulations, pal.
See? I mean, I didn't leave him out.
Foreshadowing, baby. It's called foreshadowing for the fans. But no, absolutely. But honestly, there's a lot of people that could have got this Stamos tonight, but I think O'Hoppe needed it the most. And hopefully this kind of turns him around. And if we can get the O'Hoppe that we saw in the Dodgers series and the A's series back a month ago on that road trip when the Angels won 7 in a row, huge for the Angels offense. Huge.
Absolutely. But I did have to hand out the Marsha too for the biggest biceps, and that was Soriano with the 10 strikeouts. He was on fire. So we didn't leave him out. We said, okay, we're running low on Golden Stamoses. Yes, you're right. We have to give it to O'Hoppe for, sort of like confidence builder. But we're not going to forget you, Soriano. We have a few of these Marsha awards to give out.
These are the special awards that no matter what happens, we're handing them out.
Exactly. Now the Nacho Night Award.
For the worst performance of the night. Congratulations. You played yourself.
Moldy cheese, stale chips, what a sight. All your dreams gone tonight. Had a bad night, lost the fight. No more crunch, just take a bite. It's the Nacho Night Award.
Now, I got to ask you this, Dominic. Do we share the nachos between 2 players, or do you have somebody other than what I'm thinking? And let me run this by you first before we make a decision. Jeremy Pena, 3 strikeouts, 3 at-bats, or Brandon Walter, 6 innings pitched. Some would say that's a quality start, but no, not when you give up 7 runs on 9 hits. So what do you think? Do we give it to one of these 2 or to both of them, or do you have someone else in mind?
I agree with you on Pena, 100%. 0 for 3 strikeouts. He looked so uncomfortable in the box against Soriano. Swung at everything. He gets it. My duel Nacho Night. I was going to give it to the ex-Angel, Luis Guillorme, 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts, shaky on defense over at second base. I was going to give it to Guillorme, but I think we both agree on Pena.
Yeah, I think so.
The pitcher, the reason why I wouldn't give it to Walter, the starter today, if you take away the O'Hoppe home run, he still carved us up pretty good. 6 strikeouts, got some help from other parts of his defense. Like, the Angels could have scored in the first inning when Altuve made that error that got changed to a double for Neto out in left field. There was a couple other situations. I still think, even though the box score says 7 runs on 9 hits, he didn't pitch terrible. It wasn't the worst outing. He went way longer than I thought. I thought he was going to go 4 and then they were going to pull him. But with the bullpen being taxed yesterday in extra innings, they're coming off a 4-game series in Sacramento. Their bullpen's taxed. So I thought, he was teetering, but I'm going to give it to Pena and Guillorme, but I think we both agree on Jeremy Pena.
There you go. We'll go with that. He'll have one helping package.
All to himself.
Yes, all to himself. Now let's start with some comments. Rally Chris will jump in here and he'll say, Angels beat the Astros. It's fucking spritz o'clock, baby.
Spritz o'clock, Angels play. Win or lose, we toast today. Sip and cheer, no matter score. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more. Spritz o'clock, let's pour some more.
And now you have to play something that's going to take a minute. And it's
I'll count them for you.
Here we go. 9 runs means 9 Dales. It's a 21-gun salute presented to you by an unmanagetive DJ at Angel Stadium. Okay.
I was so dazed and confused, I lost track for a moment.
Yeah, halfway through when there's too many Dales, it's like, how many am I on?
Yeah, you're like, wait, 5, 6, I can't wait. Yeah, that works.
Whatever, it works. Mateo was late to that. Mateo also just wants to get this one out of the way before we get to some more.
There's a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight, which makes me so horny, and me love you long time.
Hey, after a 9-1 win, I think we all might be like that.
Yes, Angels won a game against the Astros. Q Lombardi.
What the hell's going on out here?
So much better than last night, dude. Last night the sound bites were lagging. I don't know what the hell happened right there. Jason Hess says, I'm convinced that Kate Anderson from LSU is our guy after throwing 130 pitches and still reaching 95 miles per hour. Thoughts on that, dude?
Dude, I was talking with Eric Ward before the game, and we were talking about the draft. And I know on the Angels minor league report, if it's not probably in a couple weeks, we'll talk about prospects that could be drafted by the Angels at the number 2 pick. The number 2 pick for the Angels, you don't get that often. And the Angels next year are going to be picking outside of the top 10. You have to hit. You cannot miss on this. We know that the Angels need pitching, right? A nice firm. And all of a sudden, it's been, in my opinion, it's between the LSU starter, the left-hander, and Kate Anderson, who, again, for LSU tonight, winning Game 1 of the College World Series, 1-0 over Coastal Carolina. And how many pitches? What was it again?
130.
130 pitches, a complete game shutout. We saw Paul Skeens do that a couple of years ago with LSU. I think that's going to make everybody, tits are going to be out for that one. Nipples are hard. Everything's out and about right now. Don't tell me the Angels are not, salivating at this. The Washington Nationals have the number 1 pick. Do they go Holiday? Do they take Anderson? What's going to happen in this case? To me, if I'm Perry Manassian, you have three options: Holiday, Anderson, and Seth Hernandez, the high school pitcher from Corona High School. That's it.
He scares me right there. I'm with you. I would have to go one of the other two because, because I'm just not. I'm with Randy at this point. We've drafted so many high schoolers, and a lot of them don't work out. If you're telling me, like you said, a pitcher pitched 130 pitches in a World Series game in college, and he's nails, and you're seeing his true grit right there. That's the highest level you can pitch at before entering the minors. I have to side with one of those dudes, man. I have to side with someone that's pitching in the SEC, the ACC,
I agree with that as well.
Yeah, that's kind of who I want to go with.
My ranking board is Anderson would be my first option if available.
Yeah.
If he's not, let's say the Washington Nationals pull a fast one and take him at number 1. Do you go infield Holiday, who's a high schooler, Seth Hernandez, a pitcher, high schooler? If those are your only two options, what is the need right now for the Angels?
It'd be Hernandez.
That's where my rank. I would go Anderson, Hernandez, Holiday, based on those three players. I think either way. Now, maybe I'm a little partial to Hernandez in conversation because I've seen him up close and personal calling games for Huntington Beach. We played off against him. He is nails. He is a stud. He is great for high school. Again, we'll see how that develops at the next level. I think he's nails as well. And there's a conversation to be had, but to go 130 plus pitches and still throwing 95, that's just freaking nuts.
It's insane. Speaking of nuts,
had me fired up. What's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credential journalist in the LA area. How about a yummy tasting nut? If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credential journalist in the LA area. Spent not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 years covering UCLA sports, specifically with the Daily Bruin, writing articles, conducting interviews, all that good stuff. Cracking to a good source of protein with how about a yummy tasting nut? I love the nut. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Had me fired up.
It's so fired up, man.
Man, we are fired up. I can tell you. Hey, I'm credential journalist. Maybe not with the Angels, but high school, minor league. I can get you what you need here, folks.
You weren't fired either.
It's great days, but hey, regardless, it's not his fault. It was Ron Washington's mismanagement of him that was the problem.
Oh, Robert, that's so cold. He said DEI here.
Rob, I love you.
Mike Trout says, we're so back. Dan says, tomorrow is now a must-win game. This win today means nothing in a loss tomorrow. Albert Pujols says, no pinches mama's way, we won. Robert says, well-rounded win, quality at bats, and a shutdown pitching, dude. You can't.
It was very rare that you saw a one pitch out from the Angels today.
Yes.
Very rare. Very rare.
Angels says, yummy, yummy win. Mateo says, why doesn't Jesus trust mankind? Because he thinks we're going to double cross him.
Jesus was on our side tonight.
Yeah.
The heavens were with us.
Angel says, Todd, I want you to put the word out there that we back up. We're so back. Rally Chris says, Angels 2 games back of the wild card. Boston holds that last wild card, and we face them Monday. I'm calling it right now. Saturday, we will probably be in a playoff spot. Look, that's all fine and dandy, but when you're still not halfway through the season and you're in a playoff spot, it's good to be there.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
It's a great check mark.
Yeah.
To flip the calendar to July and be like, oh, we're at this point. I dig it, but we got to keep going. It's a check mark.
Yeah, then it's completely one game at a time. Isaac Flores says, I was there, big time W. Nice. Glad you were there, as well as freaking Dominic and half of HITI, apparently.
I was wrong. Vince was not at the game tonight. He texted me. He said he was not at the game.
He's there tomorrow.
He's there tomorrow. I misread our group chat. I thought it meant today. So still, Vince gets an honorable John Stamos for the O'Hoppe shirt. Just putting it out there.
There you go. Yeah, we'll I'll be there tomorrow with Vince. I think, and I still don't think James is going to make it up because he's not feeling good. Angels are 25-23 versus teams above 500. That's great. Also, I heard the Angels have won 13 out of the last 25 series. Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Again, it's better than we were the last couple of seasons. Again, small check marks in the right direction.
EQ's like, dude, should have hit me up. I was there.
Sorry, EQ. It was a last-minute decision on my end. I'm sorry.
Mike Trout says 714 tickets. And yes, if you want tickets at a low price with no service fee, no service charge, no taxes.
Nope.
You can only go to one place, and that's 714 tickets. And if you put HITI in the freaking apply now code, you get an additional 10% off. So your tickets are the price you see is the price you get plus the 10% off.
I saved $8 today to sit section 223 row D for only 36 apiece.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all. One win over our daddy, the Astros, and we're winning the wild card. LOL honk season. Beware of the honk.
See, hey, it's going to be a Christmas miracle. You can start praying because remember, next weekend, Christmas in June.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So start write your letters to Santa now, folks. Start it now. Prep for the series win tomorrow.
Hey, if you go in green and red to the stadium, Santa will fill your stockings with what I don't know, but he's going to fill them deep. Sorry, I got to move on. How we feel about Hendricks pitching tomorrow? I'm like EQ. Let's fucking go. I feel good about it.
Give me 6 innings. Give me a quality start, a legit quality start.
Yep. Randy, I think you are onto something, but I think we can take them out tomorrow. Randy's not here, but okay, we'll definitely let him know that's Tom. LV says, let's fucking go. The O'Hoppe signing was a boost, and he needed those 2 home runs. It was nice to see you there too, LV. So, that was pretty cool. Landon said O'Hoppe was on fire tonight. Joshua says on what happened to the trash. Oh, yeah, he wants to ask a question to Astros fans.
Yeah, what happened?
Oh no! What happened? Oh no! How terrible! That's just awful! How terrible! Oh
no! It's exactly right. I get it.
Yeah, EQ says they always win when I go. That's not true, but we'll go with that.
Hey, I'm now 1-0 this season. Just putting it out there, 1-0.
There you go. Landon says they were trying to peg Altuve all night.
Now,
yeah, I don't
brush him up and in. It's fine. Hey, he took it like a champ. He got back in the batter's box. O'Hoppe kind of looked at him, kind of talked to him with the glove in the mouth, like, "Hey, we're not trying to do what happened last night. It's come on, you throw a knuckle curve at 99, it's gonna just
I was telling
go
Landon
flutter."
I was telling Landon yesterday, if we did have a blowout, I was almost assured they were going to throw at the Astros, but this team is soft like that. You know,
I was talking to some people that were sitting around me tonight, and after Altuve almost got hit the second time, I was like, well, if the Astros wanted to hit anybody, the next inning, Christian Moore was leading off, and he was right in front of Neto when all that went down last night, and then every pitch in that at-bat was down and away. So I'm like, okay, they don't care. They're down 9-1. They don't care at this point.
Yeah. They're chalking it up to, well, if they tried to hit us and they can't hit us, then that's on them.
Yeah, really. It's not that hard at this point.
Yeah. LV said, let's finish the fucking series tomorrow. Also, balls, and Altuve playing left field like a great Taylor Ward. Great with a question mark, if that's what you mean.
For you to check out what I want. I want balls and John Stamos.
Taylor Ward.
Hey, leave Altuve out in left field. I'm happy with it. I'm not going to complain.
Yep. Don says good win tonight. Also, LV says Astros get a taste of that yummy tasting nut. Oh. Tyler says Soriano pitching well at the Big A was definitely needed. Boo Bear's mommy is going to be there tomorrow, and she says, I hope they have some left in the tank tomorrow.
Score early and score often.
Exactly. Ass hats. Exactly. Boo Bear's mommy says like and subscribe. That could help us. He has the longest streak without giving up a bomb. I did not know that. Missing Robert Stevenson. No word on him or Mancada right now. What do you think about that?
I think Stevenson, it's going to be a little while. They shut him down. There's no work right now. It's that, what was it, a pinched nerve in the bicep or something?
Mm-hmm.
Though when you hear this, and this is what I've heard from minor league athletic trainers throughout my time in minor league baseball, is when you're dealing with nerve issues and let's say it's like Stevenson in the bicep, you clear it up, guess what? Nerves travel. Then all of a sudden you're going to have a shoulder nerve. You're chasing the pain to try to stop it from expanding. And I'm not saying that's what Stevenson has and like it's going to be one problem after another, but those things take an incredible amount of time. I do not see Stevenson remotely coming back before the All-Star break. I really don't. And Moncada, I think there was an article I just read. He's frustrated right now about his knee not really healing the way they want it to. Again, I think he's going to be somebody that's not coming back after the All-Star break. Love to have him. If we could have Moncada at third, then that brings up the question of what do we do with Rengifo? And of course, what would the Angels scenario be? Right when Moncada comes back, Rengifo is going to be on a hot streak. And then you can't bench him, but then you have Moncada coming back. Do you put Rengifo out in right field? Do you try that experiment? Prototypical Angels. We should put money for Freddie Freeman, but Jared Walsh had an all-star season. Oops. Like, it's the perpetual at the last second they catch their second win.
Yeah, it's like last year. Man, Taylor Ward's having a great first half of the season. He's going to be a major trade for us to help us recoup some talent for the future. Oh, no, wait, he's on a terrible nosedive. Oh, trade deadline's gone. Taylor Ward's heating up.
Yep. The timing of everything with Angels baseball is always awful.
Yeah, absolutely. Tamir 20 says, you think these teams are going to be calling the Angels for Soriano at the trade deadline? Yeah, in my opinion,
but Perry will hang up.
Yeah, Perry's going to be like, bro, call me back when you have a legitimate question.
I think Soriano for Paul Skeens. That's it. That's all I'm accepting.
There you go. Yeah, I think he's one of the untouchables too. I don't think you can part ways with him. Sega Boy says Boston series is going to be a good one. It's definitely going to be very close.
It's going to be different without Rafael Devers.
That is true.
But it's kind of galvanized Boston, kind of a little bit.
They are playing much better. I mean, they were playing better before he left too, dude, because they knew the. Yeah,
the interesting thing about that series is going to be the pitching matchups in that series. And not to get too far ahead, it's Kohanowitz against former Dodger Walker Buehler on Monday. Then you have Tyler Anderson against Garrett Crochet on Tuesday. And then Kikuchi against Dobbins on Wednesday. Now, we all know Buehler, Angels have hit off of him before, familiar with him. Crochet, they're familiar, but Crochet is a very talented arm, did wonders against the Yankees last week. I think the pitching is going to be very interesting, and Angels took if they can at least take 2 of 3 like they did at Fenway, I think I'm okay with 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
I am too. No, I wasn't at the game tonight. We broke that down. I'll be there tomorrow. According to sources, Anthony Rendon will be in full uniform in the dugout, according to Mike Teach. Dude, that I hope that is a terrible mistake, or you're just making fun of it. You're trying to troll, because
I'm looking it up right now.
Please do. Halos need a player for more consistency. Oh, it's not okay. Good.
No, I am not seeing that anywhere.
Good. Also, do you know when Ryan Anderson is going to be stretched, or he's been stretched out to a starter? I've been hearing rumors San Diego wants Taylor Ward badly if Rengifo can't start hitting finally.
I think they mean Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan. I did see that. Ryan Johnson is sporting
he did have a phenomenal start this past week with the Tri-City Dust Devils at the high A level. 7 innings, no runs, 2 hits.
That guy does, if you notice his body language too, which I like doing after I left the league, is noticing body language in players. It's one thing to have the talent. It's one thing to have the intangibles, but it's another thing to have the body language. And, I've seen him when he, earlier in the year, Dominique, I think it was opening day when he got rocked, or it was one of those days in Chicago. And then you got, when they used him in situations that were high leverage and he got the job done, then times where he got lit up again. Man, he stayed stoic, didn't let it get to him. and then he was incredibly fired up, reminded me of a pitching version of Neto or Moore. And man, if we're filling the club with guys like him and guys like Neto and Moore that have that kind of it factor and have that dog in them, bring it on, man. I like those type of players.
He's 2-2 with a 2.3 ERA in 7 starts, 31 and a third innings. And the number I like, as I blow it up here, 36 strikeouts to only 6 walks.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Now, again, it's high A batter, so, put a pause. I think at some point he will go to Double-A Rocket City. I think that's where the Angels love sending their pitchers.
Now, do we see him make it back to the majors this year?
Fernando and I talked about that a couple weeks ago on the Angels minor league report. If you're going to bring him up, he's got to be a starter. I don't think, the Angels have not mismanaged José Soriano since last year when they turned him from reliever to starter. If you made this decision again with Ryan Johnson, he has to be a starter. You cannot bring him up for bullpen use. Even if you want to start him and limit him and say, okay, the most you're going is 4 innings. As long as it's in a starter's capacity, I am perfectly okay with it.
That's why I think that Johnson will eventually be on the team, but next year. I don't see it this year.
Yeah.
There's still some work to go. And Andrew wants to say, hey, man, I'm back. The Angels are home. And that means one thing. Yes.
9 of them tonight. 9 of them.
Also, Andrew says another sad bobblehead night attendance. Yeah, it was only about like 27, maybe. You think?
I'll look at the final attendance. They always say more. It was more than I thought there'd be, if that says a lot.
Not really.
30. Here's your final total attendance: 32,326 announced.
Yeah, announced. I'd say it's more along the lines around 26, maybe 27. It didn't look filled. Super sticker there by Tyler. Appreciate that right there. Harmon says, heck yeah, I got Houston. Dominique has an announcer's voice. Because Harmon's new to the show, Dominique. So
okay. I am an announcer. You're welcome.
Yeah, he jumped over from Locked On. So that's like night and day.
Lockdown. How dare you?
No. He
Harmon. I was like, me, how dare you put those words in my mouth? How dare you?
No, my bad. No, Harmon jumped over from there and he's found the channel. So like, yeah. If you're seeing Dominique for the first time, that is the voice of
Huntington Beach High School athletics, football, soccer, baseball. I've had my time in minor leagues trying to get back into minor leagues this offseason, but broadcasting is what I do. So keep the voice as silky smooth as possible.
And he's done a hell of a job when we've had our watch parties, either remotely or here in the studio. And he's definitely a way better listen than Patrick O'Neill. I'll give him that for sure. I might be rough around the edges, but Dominique sounds like, dude, he sounds like Howard Cosell compared to Patrick O'Neill. I'll give him that.
Hey, whatever works. I'm not going to lie. I know a lot of people like Wayne Randazzo. I'm iffy on the guy. Give me Matty V. I love Matt Vasgersian.
Yeah,
I will take the comps to Matt Vasgersian.
Dude, this year Matty V's had quite the chemistry with Gooby. I like it. I liked it when they were doing games. Kylo says some asshole at the game was wearing an Astros shirt and a Mariners hat. Yeah, that pretty much puts you in the asshole category. Right? B Train says great dub tonight. Fuck the Trastros. Wow. And awesome to see shotgun Sam Bachman being nasty for us finally. Yes.
Yeah, I think use him in the bullpen. He's the one guy in the bullpen now for the Angels where if you need multiple innings, because they really haven't done that with Detmers. They don't do that with Zephyr John. The only guy outside of Bachman right now that typically gets multiple innings is probably Brogdon.
That's true.
And again, for some other people that talk Angels baseball, influencers or podcast people that always complain about the bullpen being mismanaged, the results might not be there some nights, but it's not like we're overusing or underusing pitchers.
That's true.
Perspective here, folks. Perspective.
Dan says, I'm not going to stop. Fire Washington. If he is having issues, then resign. He won't yell at the umpires or chooses not to fire him. Also, Eric Ward says, great meeting you, Todd and Dom. My oldest son loved getting a chance to talk to Todd, and this was my youngest son's first game. My youngest wants to be an Angels fan now. That's good.
He's a Dodger fan.
Yeah, he was telling me that he was jumping on the Dodgers bandwagon because of his mom. So I was like, don't you do that, kid.
Yeah, we got to outrule mom over there and go 3 against 1. No, none of this split 2-2 down the middle.
Yeah, ask her to name somebody other than Shohei Ohtani on the Dodgers, and then if she can't, then she's an Angels fan.
Name a bullpen pitcher for the Dodgers.
There you go. I like that. B Train says, I love watching Hendricks work. So many guys throwing 100 miles per hour. Nice to see some old school control and command messing dudes up. Hell yeah. Eric says it was nice seeing all those Astros fans eat shit tonight. And you know what? I think that was the first game his son has seen as a victory. So I know Mason was pretty pissed off when I was talking to him. I should have recorded him. He was a great little interview. Harmon says Max Pros does a great job on your social media. I love the engagement you guys have with the home run videos and questions of the day. You have to wait for other podcasts to show which loses its flair. That is true.
Hey, daily podcast from us here. Doesn't matter what you like. We're here.
Exactly. We got a little bit of everything on this network. And I just, like I was telling a few people there, including Eric at Carl Strauss this morning, I'm like, dude, it just gets the right people to get it out there to make it go viral, because I'm pretty sure if a good enough group of Angels fans that don't know about us yet or haven't seen any of our content yet were to just invest a little time into it, I don't think they'd go back to where they came from. I literally think that this would become their home, because there's a lot of Angel fans that have not tapped into us yet, that feel the same way we do, frustrated the same way we are, or get excited and honk our honks too early, just like we do.
It's okay. Like, I know we make fun of the honks and everything else, and that's perfectly fine. We honk our honks whenever we want. But again, we do come to reality at some point where, again, everybody's high right now. We have a big win tonight, 9-1, go win the series tomorrow, and we're going to the World Series. It's like, with the Angels, the small victories are going to be the best thing right now. And if we keep going up that ladder and we get to the trade deadline and we're in these spots that we've talked about throughout the show here tonight, then that gives you some hope moving forward for the future. Because are we trying to win the World Series in 2025? Realistically, probably not. But if this sets us up to maybe expedite the process instead of waiting until 2029, if it gets us a year closer and say, okay, by 2028, we're competing. That's 1 year closer to present day right now. That's what matters in the long run.
Yeah, that's true. You got to continually try to just build this team up, get better as you move along. B-Train says, and I never thought I'd say this about Trout, but he looks done, taking third strikes and just can't come through in the clutch. I think that has been a big time discussion with Angels fans for a long time.
Batting over 300 since coming back off the IL, even if the home runs and the situational hitting, whatever the case may be, the clutch gene, as we all call it, if he's batting 3-something, I think, again, I'm still taking Mike Trout batting over 300. He's not. We all need to come off the cloud a little bit. Mike Trout's not going to be Mike Trout and prime MVP Mike Trout like he was in the early 2010s, right? I think we can say pre-COVID Trout, I guess we can say. Get that thought out of your head. And if he does show glimpses of that, hell, I'm all for that. But if we can settle in on a Mike Trout let's say on a 162 game season where he's DHing, not getting hurt, and if he can bat somewhere in the 260 to 280 range with 15 to 25 home runs and 60 to 80 RBIs, I will take that any day of the week.
Yeah, and you want that right now with the way his career has gone. B-Train says, thank God we stole Hoppe from the Phillies. They really blew that one. Robert says, Sox said they are willing to do cash option trades. Geez, they're looking to get rid of guys. We already read that one right there. Also, B-Train says, Morton never ceases to amaze me. Every time I think it's it for him, he's still nasty and would help our rotation big time if we get him for cheap.
Hey, Baltimore, by them trending downward at this point, who knows? There's rumors that their catcher Adley Rutschman could be on the market. There's Ryan O'Hearn, their outfielder, could be on the market. there's some guys, and I think we all here at HITI kind of thought Baltimore would compete for the division title this year.
Oh yeah, I did.
And they are, I believe, still in the cellar spot out there. So who the heck knows at this point?
Yeah, Robert says Angels have been tied to Edward Cabrera from the Marlins. They want George Klaus or Chris Cortez. No.
To me, if I had the axe on the chopping block, give up Cortez over Clausen.
Yeah.
A little bit just because of age purposes. And for those that don't know who Edward Cabrera is, 12 games, a 2-2 record, a 3.81 ERA with the Marlins in 59 appearances, 12 games this season, all in a starter's capacity.
Yeah, I think the better one's Clausen right there. B-Train says we need shotgun Sam Bachman to be looking good like tonight. It will help our bullpen from top to bottom. I know that's really good. I would not do it for Cabrera right now. I mean, Cabrera's a great pitcher and all, but man, I swear, dude, we can't blow another 2 starters because you never know, man. You just never know.
I think it also depends on what we get in this draft. For example, you get the LSU prospect Cade Anderson, and he's probably, if he's going to go, typically when you get drafted out of college and a pitcher pitching in the College World Series, you have 2 options. One, let him finally get his rest, go to the Arizona Complex League, get familiar with the Angel system, and start next year. Sometimes they say, how you feeling? And if he's passing all the health exams, he might go straight to Inland Empire or Tri-City or somewhere and jumpstart that process if he's feeling great. So I think it depends. If the Angels go top tier collegiate pitching with the number 2 pick, you might feel comfortable to give up somebody like a Cortez, not a Clausen, like a Cortez, because you're basically losing one and replacing one who's a little bit farther ahead than Cortez.
True. And I would like that move in a heartbeat, dude, if they had to go that route.
Yeah.
Mateo says, do the guys think that Montgomery's audition to be the Angels manager eventually? Do you think he's going to get that opportunity, or you think he's filling out the roster or filling out the time till either Ron comes back or, the end of the season?
Could be. It could be an audition. To me, if Ron Washington, whose contract expires at the end of the year, I think now with this health condition, I think Ron's done after this year. If he had no health issues and was still managing, I'm okay with Ron coming back and equaling out the same amount of years left that Perry Manassian has and kind of keeping the 2 of them together. But if Ron has to leave due to health concerns, and maybe he stays with the organization in some sort of front office, on-field technique role, whatever you want to call it, great. To me, I'm going to get a little honkish here. My next manager, Torrey Hunter. Younger, our team's going in a younger direction. You want a little younger manager. I think Torrey, you surround him by veteran leadership like a Clint Hurdle, a Bud Black. You bring in some youth movement of a Jared Weaver and some other things, and you take this team into the next generation of the Netos, the O'Hoppes, the Schanuels, the Moores, and everything. You're going to want a guy that's vibrant with energy. Torrey Hunter breeds that. If you want to keep Montgomery on the staff because he does a good job here, then great. But I think if Ron Washington does not come back due to health concerns, I don't know if Perry Manassian tells the rest of the coaching staff adios. I don't know if he does that, depending on where the Angels are trade deadline and how this season goes down. There's a lot of variables in this case, at least for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think a lot of it will come down to how this team finishes. If there's a spark under Montgomery and Ron decides to leave, then you have to come down and think, okay, how many of these guys really value Montgomery and are they going to play for him? How many are we keeping because you got a lot of expiring contracts? Maybe this current team did play good with him down the stretch, but will next year's team do it? You got to always look to the future. And that right there might cancel out Montgomery. You might say, okay, we're looking for a better philosophy. We're looking for a better tactical manager. So, or we might want to give it to a guy, like you said, keep it in-house, like a Torrey Hunter. Maybe he's been groomed for this. I don't know. So we'll have to see. There's 1,000 questions with that one too. And if you were to ask a certain somebody if he could make that decision, I don't think he would. I think he would tell
We
you.
got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
Exactly.
And it did. A 9-1 win against the Astros. Hell yeah.
Yep. Harmon checking out right there. So we appreciate you being on. B-Train said, I freaking love how Detmers is doing in the pen right now. Dude has the stuff, and I think we should stick to him relieving. I think we've addressed this too, right? It's the same thing, right?
This comment, as my fingers are right there, needs to happen. You didn't mess with Soriano going in the rotation. He's thriving. You're not messing with Ryan Johnson. He's thriving right now. It's stretching out. Do not F with Detmers in the pen. Don't. Just leave him there and create this strong, formidable back end of the bullpen where you have Detmers and Jansen. Leave it. Do not. I don't want to hear any more fans, people. Leave Detmers in the pen. It's fine.
Yeah, he's doing his job over there. I totally agree. Daniel Brito says, trade Ward, Adele, Rengifo, Soler, Mancada, Jansen, Anderson for some bats who can we at least hit their weight if possible. I know that's a quarter of the lineup. It is. And that's actually more of it. That's about more than half. But if it got back if each one of those trades, Dominique, gets you 2 players, and we're not even talking about they all pan out, but if each one of those players gets you 2, and that's 6 total, and that if you do the math, that's 12. Yeah. You taking that?
The Angels have to get rid of all those guys. The Angels really have to scuffle. Really. Again, if they're within 5 games, I'm not doing it. They really have to be bottom of the barrel and just screw the pooch big time. And the crazy thing is, imagine if Taylor Ward is consistent and Joe Adele is consistent. Just those 2 guys right there, when you factor in Neto, Schanuel, O'Hoppe being consistent, the Angels, in my opinion, could be the best team in the American League West.
That is
because the pitching has been there for them this year. When they score 4 or more runs, what is their record this year?
31-10.
Taylor Ward, we've seen him when he is hot. Last year's April and last year's post-trade deadline. If he was half of that on a consistent basis, and basically Joe Adele the month of June right now, if those guys were like that all the time or just half of that, this lineup would be easily lengthened out. You'd have 6 of 9 spots in the lineup consistent on a daily basis. That's not honkism. That's factual information. Just be consistent. Stop with the strikeouts and be consistent.
I agree. Robert says, I paid $35 for 334 on the aisle. Thank you, 714 tickets. Yes. Also, Don says, I don't understand how they missed that midget Altuve twice. So,
hey, Soriano's just just a little chin music. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Mateo says, Crochet pitching that 2.74 ERA. And by the way, he's fat.
This fat son of a bitch is going to try us all out.
Just going to calm down, okay? All right?
He's fat.
Hey, and the positive thing about Crochet pitching, look how the Angels just batted against a lefty starter tonight.
Yeah.
Some hope. Let's keep the hope going.
Let's keep the positivity and the Magic Johnson going. Tony C says, I also heard Washington has heart issues. I think he will step down soon. The Angels are going to be buyers. They don't like to sell at the deadline. Dominique, you're right about 2023 all over. Go Halos.
This team, I think, is better than 2023.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too. I was talking about it today. And, when you have 30 years of cocaine use, which he does, and I know we're not looking back and everything. It's not like he relapsed and it's one of those embarrassments and stuff like that. But the studies out there is it does not wonders, the opposite to your heart. It could enlarge it. It could weaken it. You can have congestive heart failure earlier than you would have. Because there's a lot of cocaine users who have died in their 50s, not even making it mid 60s. So
I think being as athletic as he's been has probably helped his cause. And again, this is pure speculation. We don't know if it's heart. I think, maybe some of us can guess in that sense because let's think, if it was a foot injury, he'd be coaching. If it was there are certain things that keep you out of the dugout. And we know they preached in the media how being a coach is a high stressful situation. Stress to me equates heart. And again, we're not breaking information. We're just speculating here. But if it is the heart, prayers up to him, make sure he comes back healthy. But I think being as athletic as possible has helped him in the long run. Maybe he just needs a couple more fat ass chicken wings on a Friday night at the Big A. He down those babies. That could be some good medication right there. Those Big A wings.
Yeah, he's like those KFC wings, man. Dan says make a QR code for our shirts. Maybe that'll attract more people, or scan it like Robert says, and maybe you see Todd in the thong.
Hey, beautiful highlighter moment for you right there.
Yeah, I mean, geez. Mateo says I wanted Corbin Burns, but we missed out. Or did we?
We did not. Now that he's having TJ, bye-bye.
Yeah. Also trade for Alcantara. Now here's my thing, Dominique.
Yeah.
I would trade for him at the right price, number one, and number two, not to depend on him this season, because he's obviously coming back from Tommy John. That first season back, you are not anywhere close, or if you may be close, but you're not hitting your stride, you're not hitting your location. You're going to have up and down games. It seems like the trend has been that you need that kind of like filling year, half year, whatever it is, coming off Tommy John. And then the following year, you're back to normal. You're good. You're good now. See, I would trade for him so we can have him next year.
I think even though he still has 2026, a club option in 2027 available, so he'd be 2 more years before an unrestricted free agent year going into 2028. I think you could probably get him at a better cost than Cabrera.
Oh yeah.
Because of the injury and because the numbers are not so good, you could, instead of giving up a Clausen or a Cortez, you could maybe go to that next level down and kind of take the pick of the lottery from there, throw in some cash, whatever the Marlins want to do. That could be a better opportunity. I could see it. I wouldn't be completely opposed to it. Not completely. Got to sell me a little more on that over Cabrera right now.
Yeah, because what I would do is use it as kid gloves the rest of the season. I'd be like, man, don't give me any more than 5 innings the rest of the year. Alcantara will just pitch you out like that. We'll stretch you out more when it comes to next spring training. And then put him in that rotation, starring in there with Soriano and others next year.
But here's the thing about Alcantara at this point, though. Rough April, rough May, 3 starts in June, kind of figuring it out, a 1-1 record with a 2.12 ERA. Has he come over that initial curve where a 9 ERA, an 8 ERA? Maybe he's figured it out, and maybe he's going to be, I'm not saying back to prime form, but maybe back to somewhat of form. He's still in his outings as I look at his stats right now. Taking away April, where he had multiple starts where he only went like 2 innings. He's pitched 5 or more innings in every start but 1 since May 5th. Yeah. He's giving you innings, and since May, he gave up 5 earned, 4, 5, 6. Again, he's given up 4 earned runs in the month of June so far against the Rockies, the Pirates, and the Phillies.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Dan Rios is trying to run out Joe Girardi.
On that a little bit more.
What's that?
I think I just sold myself on Sandy Alcantara just a little bit more right there.
I think you did. You had an argument with yourself.
You know me, I love looking at the splits. And as soon as I saw that split in June, I'm like, ooh, that got me excited.
You're all maybe. Ward got a hit, Q Lombardi.
What the hell's going on out here?
Yeah. He also says Soriano was awesome. I think they need to get a jersey, bought a red Neto jersey. That's cool.
Oh, nice.
Eric Ward said, rumors or not, I'm really liking the Arenado trade scenario. I just don't want to give up a lot for him.
The rumors were swirling that the Astros and the Angels talked to him in the before the season, and that the Angels had a plan in place, but the Cardinals did not like the return. Not that Arenado didn't want to come, but the Cardinals didn't. They wanted maybe a little bit more. So maybe if the Angels are at that point, do they maybe give up that extra something that the Cardinals want in order to make it happen? Who knows? I'll take Arenado. I'll take him.
That is true. That is true. Do you think I should get a City Connect jersey? I would, girl. I mean, these City Connects are good.
Yeah.
We won't know what the next one is till next year. Jose says Locked On is the great value golden Stamos. Has a great golden value.
Oh my god. Discount double check.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. I will admit that, dude. It's more than a yummy tasting nut right there. That's terrible. Their presentation isn't all that great. That's saying it lightly. It's more of a
that's a Nacho Night one.
It sure is. And he's begging for this one here tonight. If I could find it right now. Where is it? Have it under something I can't really say.
Let me tell you something about my guy John Stamos. So I was able to go in the back bedroom and unscrew the old
balls and running up my butt right now.
You get out of it what you put into it. John Stamos
choked on me.
He was so great.
Oh, gotta love it.
Yeah, you have to love it right there. I don't know if the Cardinals give up Arenado. They're having a good season. Yeah, that could have took him off the market, or can take him off the market. Storm Zix says instead of Arenado, I would like Gorman. What do you think about that?
Gorman, a little bit of an out. I believe he's their right fielder, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look at the numbers, but Nolan Gorman. Actually, he's a second baseman. Pardon me. I mistaken that one. Gorman's statistics so far this year. Yeah, I'm not going to talk myself into this one right now. 210 average, 4 home runs, 18 RBIs, and 138 plate appearances. No. That would be definitely a buy low situation. Very player to be named later in cash considerations. Last year batted 203, the year before 236, 2022, 226. Yeah, no, not selling it for me.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. I would go based on standings. And the only outliner that I would look at if I'm a GM right now, if I'm the GM for the Angels, and let's see if you agree with me on this one, Dominic, or if you have a different take on this one. I would look at the teams right now, whether it's financially, how they're built.
Okay.
But for the most part, I'd be like, okay, what teams are not hopelessly out of it, but they're trending down and are hopelessly out of it. Look, right now, I don't want anybody or need anybody from Colorado, so I X them out.
Yep.
I look at Arizona and say, man, fourth place, they're keeping their head above water at 39-37, but are they really in it? And so I keep an eye on them. I'm definitely flirting with the Pirates. I'm checking in and out with the Reds. They seem to be going up and down. I'm definitely flirting with the Marlins and Nationals, and quite possibly the Braves.
That would be the Braves selling at a deadline would throw all of us for a loop with how as good as they've been for years. I don't know if they would close up shop that quickly, but stranger things have happened. Chris Sale.
They definitely have a run in them for sure. But is it too little too late? Can they recoup? I mean, they are 7-3 in their last 10, and they're a plus 27 in the run differential. So I would keep an eye on them for damn sure.
Yeah.
Obviously nobody talks to anybody in this division, so I wouldn't even give a damn about any of these teams in the division. The White Sox, interesting.
Yeah.
A very interesting team to me because I don't think they're going to give up is Kansas City, but Minnesota. I think Minnesota has some players that Dominique, I think we can get on the cheap. And then the last one I'll say is Baltimore. You throw in Boston. Is there anyone I missed, or is there anyone else that you would focus in on?
Not really. I agree with you in the National League. Arizona is a perplexing situation because they're 2 games above 500, 2.5 games out of the wild card. They always find a way to compete after the All-Star break. We'll see them in July right before the All-Star break at the Big A. So maybe a little bit of an audition process at that point. But I think if I'm going National League, I honestly don't think Washington would sell. They have their young core with Gore, Woods, Abrams. I think they would be a stand pat type of team. Cincinnati's always interesting with Terry Francona at the helm. So Arizona, Cincinnati, Atlanta could be interesting. But in the American League, Minnesota, Baltimore, and the White Sox. The Angels always seem to do deals with the White Sox. I don't know who's even remotely possible. Maybe, it's not going to be Luis Robert. That's going to be too much where the White Sox want to spend. It just kind of depends, but I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I think those would be the teams for sure. Pittsburgh, Miami would be the top two teams that I'm definitely eyeing at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they do have quite the farm system to where you can pull some of these guys up and be like, okay, it's not going to cost us a lot to get a few of their farm hands or even the guys that are on the major league roster. My only thing with Pittsburgh is you can't really eye them for offense. You'd have to eye them for pitching because their offense is pretty bad. But a team like Washington or Miami or Arizona, you could definitely key in on some hitting from those teams.
There's opportunity. There is opportunities. I will say that for sure.
Absolutely. Vote for Bonds, a new person we've seen on here, at least I've seen.
Nice.
What type of young players could the Angels target for Ward and Jansen, in your opinion?
Well, when you're looking at Taylor Ward, I know the conversation always has been Taylor Ward to the Padres. Mm-hmm. Padres have a decent farm system. What would they give up? What would the Angels want? If you look at they're not going to get rid of Machado. They're not going to get rid of, their center fielder who's injured right now. Not Robert Hassel. He's in Washington. Jackson Merrill. None of those big guys. If the money wasn't dramatic, could you center a deal around Xander Bogaerts? I know that money it's not going to happen. I'm saying if the money was different for Bogaerts, could you package Ward and like a Jansen and a prospect to get Xander Bogaerts and have one of those odd, weird kind of packages? That would solve the Angel, put Xander Bogaerts back to third.
But see, I think that would hurt the Angels because I think you could still make that deal with a straight up either Ward and Jansen deal with those two guys or a straight up Ward. And
Maybe.
what you would do is you'd say, okay, give us Bogaerts. We'll give you Taylor Ward and we'll eat half of that contract, or maybe 65% of that contract. If you throw that incentive in there, I know Artie doesn't like to do it, but like you said, you're going to put him back at his natural position at third. You may come with some airs. You might be able to throw Minkata in there, give them a third base option along with Ward, in the outfield. So there's ways they could be creative. I think you save Jansen for someone that really needs a bullpen piece. You look towards the end of the season or towards that deadline and be like, you know what? Maybe Cincinnati needs help in that bullpen. If they're making a run, Kansas City or Ohio, someone like that.
Yeah, I think you have to kind of pick and, you got to pick and parse your situations in that case scenario. Like I'm looking at the Padres top 30 prospects, like Leo DeVries, their number one prospect. He's not going anywhere. That's going to be somebody they want for the future. We don't need a catcher, Ethan Salas. They have some good young pitching at the single A level, but that's not going to help us right now. It's going to be a very interesting case scenario. Again, it's really dependent on what the Angels do the next month, what they do up until the All-Star break, and kind of, okay, let's start formulating plan A and plan B from there.
Yeah, because I think let's just put it to you this way. They could be sellers and buyers at the same time because then, you're selling to like Ohio if they were to give Jansen to Ohio. And then if you're being a buyer by getting rid of like Minkata and Ward to San Diego because they would give you back players that can help you right now.
Yeah.
So and then whereas Jansen will pick you up a prospect or two for the future possibly. So they can work it. But I think that the thing is, how much do they want it? How much and it's going to cost you. And it shouldn't cost you your top, like you said, guys that you don't want to lose from this organization, whether on the major league roster or in the minors.
Yeah.
So if you can work it to where it's low-level guys, like you said, or eating some of that money, like I said, I think that's a perfect case scenario along with getting rid of those vets.
And you know what the wildest wild card factor is at the end of the day?
What's that?
As we talked about, Jared Walsh instead of Freddie Freeman, and how the timing of everything doesn't work for the Angels. Rendon's under contract for 1 year. He is going to come into the offseason and into spring as what will be quoted as the healthiest he's ever been.
Yeah.
He'll be on the opening day roster. He'll be our starting third baseman.
He loves baseball.
He loves baseball. And he'll start next year, the first 2 weeks of the year, batting decently. And then shit will hit the fan, and then we'll say we should have not trusted that.
Yeah.
The Angels' time, because if you want Nolan Arenado, he's still got, 1 or 2 years left on his contract. You're going to pay for Arenado and Rendon. Either way, you're going to have to eat Rendon's money, because I doubt he's tradable at this point. No team's going to want him unless you sell the Miami Marlins a bill of goods that he is healthy and will be ready for you next season to sell some tickets.
That is true. That's true.
That's the wildest wild card factor of the bunch. Watch Rendon get healthy at the wrong time.
Yeah, watch him play for a contract actually next year. That'd be the stupidest thing ever.
Yep.
Then it's like one of the greatest trolls of a fan base of all time.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Quick question here, because I haven't heard too much on him, but what is the word on Chase Silseth?
As I look up the numbers right now on Chase Silseth, minor league numbers this year in 2025, he's been with Salt Lake, a 3-1 record, 7 appearances, a 4.45 ERA. As of May 20th, he was placed on the 7-day IL, has not pitched ever since. So he's been on the IL for over a month. Probably let's focus on 2026 for the young fella.
Man, that's another one you gotta think about giving up here if he doesn't straighten out next year.
I agree.
Tony C says, remember the Braves lost Chris Sale for at least a month with cracked ribs. Atlanta will sell this season, no pun intended. Benintendi from the White Sox. What do you think?
Andrew Bennett, you know me, I love my stats, so let's go Andrew Benintendi, a guy that the Angels thought about a couple of years ago, and he ended up signing with the White Sox. That kind of threw us all for a little bit of a loop.
Yep.
244 hitter, 8 home runs, 29 RBIs. We know he's on the White Sox, so those numbers can be maybe skewed a little bit. To me, he's a bottom third batter in the order nowadays in the latter stages of his career, which is weird to say because he's only 30 years old. Super weird.
Mm-hmm.
Career hitter, 269. Quality slap kind of hitter. For the right price. He's only played 50 games this year, so I think he's been on the shelf maybe a little bit at some point. I would need a little more convincing. A little more depending on where we at and what we need at this point. If we need a slap hitter, sure. Like if it's trade for Benintendi for a very low-level prospect and cash considerations, sure, I'll take the deal. But if it's Benintendi for Chris Cortez, no.
Yeah, if he's a dude that is in the majors and you could put him at number 9 to flip the order, I'm not opposed to that. Not.
Just a little more convincing, please.
Yeah, Grillmaster says can't have Bogarts. He's worth too much money right there.
I agree.
Mateo's saying, do you attach Ward, Rengifo, Schanuel? No, I don't.
Schanuel, Neto, O'Hoppe, Trout, Soriano, and Christian Moore are probably untouchable on this roster right now.
I agree. Storm Zick says for Ward, I would try to have a betting war with other teams like San Diego and Kansas City. Yeah, but you can't push your you can't push him too far into the deadline. We've seen the Angels do that too, where they keep pushing teams, and then the teams just were like, you know what, it ain't worth it.
The Angels, it's all the next 2.5 weeks up until the All-Star break will show us one side of the equation. Coming out of that All-Star break, you know where we go? I don't know if you're looking at the schedule, but I'll tell you. We start post All-Star break action at the Mets and then at the Phillies.
That's tough.
That's a tough way to kind of come off of that. So for me, you got to win now. Have a nice little win streak and definitely be above 500. And if you could go into the All-Star break where we are right now at bare minimum 2 games back or less, I think the Angels are trending towards buying at the deadline. If they're 5 games or less, or 5 games or more behind in the wild card going into the All-Star break, I think we're trending the opposite direction.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Max Chapman or Aroldis Chapman.
Oh, Aroldis? Matt?
Wait, I'm sorry. Matt Chapman.
Matt Chapman, Giants, he's staying. With Rafael Devers now there, the Giants want to compete. Even if it's not this year, they're going to continue to compete. Chapman ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, goddamn, y'all still awake. Yes, we are. We're wrapping it up, though.
We're wrapping. Don't worry. We got this. I was only going to be on half of it, but I'm like, yeah, I'm going to stay on the whole thing.
Yeah. What are the chances they just bring up Denzer Guzman and hand him third?
If this was 2026, I'd say maybe. Not yet. That we can say the same thing for Nelson Rada in the outfield. Like, if we got to a point in late August, September, and the Angels were sellers, and Soler's gone, and Ward's gone, give me Nelson Rada for a month and see what he's got. But if the Angels are buying, no, I think we'll be okay. That's, again, we talked about it with pitchers. Let's now talk about it with fielders and hitters. Don't screw the pooch. Let these guys cook a little bit and let them have the ability. So maybe in 2026, if not 2026, for sure 2027, he's ready to roll. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like a bad idea. Let's see. Also trade for O'Neill Cruz. I don't think the Pirates would do that.
And I don't like his temperament. I think he's a very emotional player.
Yeah.
When he's on, he's on, and when he's off, he's off.
Yeah.
Little too sketchy right now where the Angels, if the Angels had more depth and stronger assets, then you could balance them out.
Yep. Stormzik says also, do you think Atlanta would give up some of its young pitching?
Probably at the right price. I think Atlanta would be a team like the Angels. They're not going to be a fire sale and sell everything, but they would still ask for a right prospect in return. They're not going to if they sell, it's going to be a very casual sell, not a we're giving away Olsen and Albies and Acuna Jr. Like, no.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony C says, we need to get past the draft. Then we'll know where the guys stand at the deadline. I really think Trout needs to have his eyes checked. Yeah, I mean, everyone is complaining about his pitch selection or hitting selection.
Yeah.
Stormzex says, do you think the Angels are going to go after a high school or a college first round? We already talked about that earlier, Stormzex, and I think we're leaning towards either one at this point, but you would prefer the college SEC proven, Big 12 or whatever it is, Big 24, whatever the hell they call it.
If the Angels picked up Christian Moore out of Tennessee, who had a good college World Series last year, Reed Detmers was a college kid. Zach Neto, even though he wasn't an SEC kid, was a college kid.
Yep.
I'm going to guess the Angels are going to go for Anderson. If Anderson is not there at number 2, if he goes to number 1 of the Nationals, then you're going to go with the high school kid, but then watch the Angels buck that trend and pick like a Doyle or an Arnold and stick with that college. We're going to know July 13th, but I think the Angels will go college.
Yeah, that's what Grill Master was looking at right there. I saw his thing there, right there. Also, Sega says Angels will not trade with anyone in the East. It's going to be the Central and the East in the, I think he says the West.
Oh,
yeah, because the Angels just don't I mean, we've seen a couple very minor league moves.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be with the National League team. That's where the Angels typically trade with the most.
Yes. Alfonso says, wrap it just like Gavin should so he won't multiply. Yikes. Sega says, locked on Halo's Tickle Party. And Pillow.
Who's giving you content at almost 12:30 in the morning? We are.
Right.
We are. What are you talking about? After a 9-1 win, we are.
Yeah, I mean the Angels are basically going to be playing in what? Let's see,
12 hours, 13 hours,
less than 12 hours, and we're still.
You got a game to go to, my friend.
I do. I got to be up at 6 in the morning. I got shit to do. Alfonso says Angels should stand pat. Need to keep building. And again, this is one of the first years, Dominique. I would be like, you know what? It's not bad. I would not Mine.
If the Angels were still competing in September for a wild card berth with what we have right now, take it as a win.
Yeah, I think standing pat for me would be getting rid of these veterans, but not adding or having to mortgage the house to just stay 500. If you got to fall behind 500, but you made a lot of moves for the future, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But it's adding when you don't need to add, getting rid of assets that you should have kept. Yeah, I'm not okay with that either. Yo-Yo's right there. Sega Boy says we should be drafting a high school Yo-Yo or Seth at this time. How
would we develop him though? Our farm system, again, I love the kid. I love the intangibles. I think he would be a great asset. I just worry about how he would be handled by this organization through the developmental process.
Yes, absolutely. Alfonso trying to throw it out there, but it never happened. I know it was a Randy thing, but he says, Todd, hope you had fun hanging out with Gavin and the Halo brothers a couple days ago. No.
No, they're not trapped in his basement. Don't worry.
Yeah, please no. And then Kevin has a sore throat. He did say that, by the way, too much.
Hey, hey, as a broadcaster, if I can broadcast 7 games in 7 days and do podcast, people get the lozenges, start the fluids. You can make it happen.
Exactly.
I've broadcasted with laryngitis. People, come on, don't be a pussy.
Sega says too much. I had to read that again. Too much, you know what, and you know what leads to
smart thinking.
Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe.
Gavin has a bad case of strep throat. Chris says Gavin has been including the shells in this pistachio diet. More protein. Vote Bonds for Hall of Fame says Caden Dana and Soriano both got developed by the Angels farm system. It can happen, LOL.
It can. That's hope. That's hope. It can happen. Let's keep it rolling.
They are the exception to the rule, but dude, I would take it. I literally would. If they could do that again and work some miracles in that farm system. So I think we're all caught up, my friend.
Yes, we are.
I really appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
And doing the post game with me here tonight. And you were front and center, as they like to say, boots on the ground at Anaheim as Angels won 9-1. I was going to talk to you about this before we get out of here. I really want it. We haven't mentioned it at all really this year. I don't consider them Los Angeles anymore. That whole thing, a lot of Dodger fans say, hey, you guys are you guys are Los Angeles, but you're really not. It's like, Dick, we didn't pick it. We didn't vote for it.
We are not the Green Bay Packers. We are not a fan ownership group. We did not pick this.
Yes, this was total dictator by Artie. So I think I'm making a very conscientious effort not to speak of Los Angeles in the name. I'm calling them Anaheim all year. I'm not going to
Anaheim, Orange County. You take your pick. Anything that doesn't represent Los Angeles. Those that listen can take that for what it is. I'm not saying anything specific. I don't want to be associated with Los Angeles. I'm just going to put that out there right now. So Anaheim, Orange County, trust me, I would love for us to be Anaheim again. Create that partnership once again with the Anaheim Ducks. Look at what the Anaheim Ducks are doing with their rebuilding process right now. They are in the mood of buying free agents. They have the most cap space. This is what the Angels need to basically look at as a building block, even though it's two different sports. The Ducks had their 4 to 5 years of hardships. This year was a little bit of a better one, and I'll say it now, and I'll say it proud. The Ducks are going to be a postseason team next year.
I totally agree. They've been on the cusp the last year and a half as far as like building, and I think for sure, dude. I think for sure the Ducks make that 8th or 7th spot even.
I like it. And I like this comment here from Tony C. Not just because he wants me to be on more often and we make a great team, but we knew that already. But this is Todd's show. I come in whenever needed. I don't, we all do our own thing here, but Todd is the man. And whenever there's something to say, I'll come on. I'll text him right beforehand and be like, You mind if I come on? And he's like, sure, come on in. And tonight was just one of those nights. So it's always great to be here. I know he and I got some planning to do when it comes to more events at Brewheim and more watch parties and a bunch of different things. But hey, Todd and I make a great team, and I'm always thrilled for that no matter what.
Absolutely, dude. And we do have a great opportunity when we actually do really good when we do our live events. So we will be definitely doing some more live events coming up, because we have to get with that. I know this month has kind of flown by, so I don't think we have anything scheduled for this month, but I know July should be packed with stuff to go right there. Alfonso Todd is QB1 while Kevin is a wide receiver. I think he's on the practice squad, Alfonso. By the way, Sega says he misses Marsha. Big 20's on to bigger and better things. I think he left this show far behind. But you got Marsha coming back soon. Be on the listen for her. And then you're having you will hear some Artie, you will hear some Klaus. So don't worry about that. That's coming around.
They come in short spurts.
Yes. Well, there'll be more. I know they were missing a lot in June, but we will definitely be getting back to some interviews here in the coming week or less.
Back with a vengeance.
Yeah, Terry Smith too. Probably the best, the goat of our staff will be back.
Hey, if we keep winning and that happens, let's just keep it rolling, baby.
Yep. And one last thing, Grillmaster says Marsha's dick went flaccid. How would you know?
Well, that's one way to end a fantastic night. Holy Moses. Hey, at 12:30 in the morning, we are rolling, my friend.
We sure are, dude. The comments are coming in fast right there. Look at that. Dom is the HITI version of Bob Costas. I like that.
All right. Thank you. And Eric, your check will be in the mail later. I promise.
The royalty check. I love it. We'll get to that on another show. Vote for Bonds. We'll have plenty of cheese made with that.
Yeah.
Cheese Big 20.
Oh my God.
AKA
this is HITI after dark.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Big time. All right, my friend Dominic, it was great to be on with you once again. Good things usually happen when we work together. So
hey, we're gonna keep that situation going and go for the series win. And tomorrow, guess what? It's all on you, brother. You better get the win, because 1-0 with me. You better figure your shit out. Figure it out.
You're putting the pressure on me, man. I don't like it.
Hey, I've always found this to be on point. If I'm yelling at a player on TV, they're screwing up, they're swinging bad, 9 times out of 10, the next at bat, they prove me wrong. So
there you go.
Put a little pressure, create some diamonds. Let's make it happen. Let's go win the series against the Astros tomorrow. Let's go.
Let's get it done so we can play this. Good night, everybody.
Cheers.